So I was checking out this thrift store that I never checked out before. I believe it was a Desiree Industries. Wasn't sure what to expect. The way they had the toys set up was similar to Goodwill, kind of on these shelves, all kind of thrown in there, mixed together. You never know when you look on these shelves and stuff, and I didn't know about their pricing and stuff. Their pricing was kind of all over the place. I remember having that truck when my kids were little. Kind of all the cars and dolls and well, the plush is actually in a separate area. That was a vintage doll. The dolls seemed to be anywhere from $3, $4, $5. I didn't see anything that really stood out for me. I always check the plush. There's certain plush that can go for pretty good money. That is a Groovy Girl doll, I believe, or similar to one. They don't really sell anymore. They used to sell probably about 7, 8 years ago. I was also looking for Jelly Cats. I didn't see any of that. Sometimes certain Marvels or FNAF plushes can bring in pretty good money. They did have they had a kind of like antique or higher end stuff. These are all boxed Barbies. They wanted anywhere from $15 to $25 each. The boxes weren't in great condition, and there weren't any that were highly desirable or collectible, so I passed on those. I did even look at them. A lot of their antique pieces were pretty dirty, kind of worn, so I passed on most of that. The books were expensive. I'm used to going to the bins and getting kids' books for less than 50 cents. They had these books priced at like $2, $3 each, and I don't even know why. So there was a lot of kids' books that were there that will probably end up getting thrown away, which is really sad. Like this book is $3. It wasn't anything spectacular, so I did not find any books. The purses that weren't higher end, just kind of more generic purses, were around Goodwill prices, $7, $8, $9, $10. All the wallets were on the shelves. I didn't see any, and I was looking around, but with the prices they were, I didn't imagine finding anything. I also looked at some hats, accessories, socks. Nothing was standing out. I don't typically get a lot of hats. I don't sell a lot of hats. It's hard for me to find ones that are worth money. Sometimes I'll get good gloves if they're like $1, $2, save them for the winter and resell them, but they were wanting $7 for pretty worn out Gore-Tex gloves. So that kind of gave me an idea of how they were pricing stuff. Now the shoe section was interesting, and I just cannot believe some of the shoes they put out on the racks and what they were pricing them at. I was pretty surprised, especially with the tennis shoes. A lot of wear to them, and then they would ask, $5, $10, $12. Like these were super worn out. They were old, and they wanted $12. These were shoes that probably should have been thrown in the garbage. They were really, really worn. Generic worn shoes with like dog hair inside and dirt. They wanted $6, $7. I mean, some of these shoes should have just been thrown away. I was so surprised that they even put them out. This was probably the most vintage thing I saw, this game here. They didn't have a lot of vintage items. I did see like vintage thread and some crafts and stuff, but nothing worth too much money. Oh, it's an old photo album. Oh, straight 70s. That brought back some memories. I remember my grandma used to have those filled with photos of all the grandkids and her kids. They don't really make those anymore. So looking around, I also looked at the crafts. They had entire areas just designated for crafts. And then I think these were just like accessories and stuff. This was $7, and I think they priced it more than it was originally, which I don't know, surprised me. But just not worth it. I'm not going to pay more for, you know, what it goes for in the stores. That's just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I don't know what they were thinking when they were pricing some of this stuff. And unfortunately, if it doesn't sell, it just ends up in the garbage, which is so sad. We need to keep these items out of the landfills. We need to sell them for prices that people will pay. This was really cute. It was $3. I mean, that was a decent price. That little Winnie the Pooh bee. This is from the dollar store. They wanted $1.50. That was literally from, I think that was $1.50, but that was literally from the dollar store where it's $1.25. So, whew, I don't know if they knew that or not. This is the only item that I've ended up purchasing right here. It was, that was an item that I was going to resell on eBay. But that was it. And then this was kind of the outdoor area. They had sports equipment, outdoorsy, coolers. Some of the prices out here wasn't as bad as like the shoes and purses and toys and stuff. So I don't know. It maybe also depends on who's pricing items. You never know. Old school life game. A lot of times I don't get games. All the pieces aren't there usually. They have some nice heavy coats. That was a Torrid brand. This was a nice Columbia coat. They wanted $25, which is decent if it were selling online. But in a thrift store, it was a little too much. I always like to take a look at the jackets and coats. You never know if you'll find a really good brand. They kind of seem to know what the good brands were and stuff. But again, they're more like online prices than, you know, in-person thrift store prices. I only glanced at the tops. I kind of knew that I wouldn't find anything too spectacular. And their prices were similar to Goodwill. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope everyone has a great week.